Let's talk about this football and financial talk, and I think I just want to pick up from the last one of Coach Pito. He talks about his message to the under 23 players, the importance of getting those opportunities overseas. I want to zoom in on the agents, because whenever we talk of the finances and also the overseas movement, we never touch on the agents and the role most of them have played in some of these players not taking or getting this move to go overseas.
Yeah, that's a very good question there. What you see is what you know, and if you agent or a representative of a player, depending on the player's quality, you need to identify can he play at a smaller team? Does he need that time to adapt? Does he have the ability to go straight to Kaizer Chiefs or Orlando Pirates or Sundowns? Those are the big teams in the country. But there's something that's a bit lacking, and we had it. And I say we, it's myself and Benni McCarthy and that generation, is that I played for the under 20 national team, under 23 national team. And that opportunity for playing for your junior national team is where you get scouted internationally. Now this is where the agent would come in, and then he can represent you on an international level. But to go from playing for a smaller team in South Africa to Europe, it's not an easy task, So I really believe that the international junior national teams is the opportunity for players to do that. Or another opportunity is when you are playing continental football. And this is where the scouts can possibly see you, because geographically it is not easy to come to South Africa. And that's something I learned. I was a bit fortunate. At the junior national team, I was then given the opportunity to go to my first overseas club, which was Grasshopper Zurich in Switzerland. But that's because of the national team and the junior national team. So it is so difficult for players to go from playing in South Africa straight to Europe. It's not an easy task, but it's not impossible.
Fortunately, I had this kind of a discussion with Coach Mlepi last week. Yes. And the discussion was around Victor Osimhen, because there are players who are playing in the PSL now. They played with Victor Osimhen and marked him out of the game in 2015. And Victor Osimhen and Chukwueze at the time were just playing for an academy in Nigeria. And when the overseas clubs came calling, it was not a big deal for them to go. And those players were playing for academies of PSL clubs here, and they got offers, and those offers were not taken up because our clubs, they were asking for telephone numbers. So in terms of this education, and if you look at Victor Osimhen now, and look at some of these players, some of them are even in the NFT, or some of them are nowhere to be seen.
No, you like it or not, the only way Bafana Bafana and the South African national team is going to improve is when the players are playing abroad. When I sit on the SuperSport panel and we do African Nations Cup, you look at that team sheet. Even if it is a second division in Belgium, third division in France, guys are playing overseas. And the quicker we get there, the better for the nation. But this speaks to the club owners or the academy owners or everybody to say, listen, let me not think about now, how much I'm going to get for this player now. There's a certain situation where you say, give me a sell-on fee. You're going to give me a little now, but when you sell him to a bigger team, that is when you can possibly get the remuneration, because you have developed the player, and we need to look at it from both sides. But I certainly believe that the more players we have playing abroad, which is starting to show now, the Lyle Fosters, the Percy Towers out of the shores here, this is when we will see a better Bafana Bafana. And even the upcoming games, I'm expecting us to roll over Liberia, because there's players now coming from abroad, having that experience, playing at the highest level where I was fortunate to play. And you understand, where in South Africa, when you're playing football, and this is the mentality that will change, is they ask you, Stiga, what do? You say, I play football. Just by saying I play football means you are not taking it serious. When you're in Europe, this is my job. The mentality shifts, the concentration at training shifts. You're playing at a higher level, more concentrated level. Now when you bring it back to the national team, players that's playing at a local level, you join the camp and we see how it is done. When I joined the camp, Phil Masinga walks in, Lucas Radebe walks in, Quentin Fortune works. I was rubbing shoulders with guys that are playing at the highest level. And what happens? I want to play at that level, And that is why I think for our players, the earlier they go, the better for everybody.
Stiga, there's mixed message in here, because The Bafana coach says, a player like Christian Smell is too early for him to go overseas now. How do we handle
I heard
this
that.
situation?
I heard that, and and this is not me going up against a coach. He has his opinion. He's a coach. I'm not a coach, but I've played here. I know that sometimes when you go too early, you can fail, and I think that is what the coach is saying. But me seeing my Lula, a team that scouts him will understand that there's potential that must be tapped into. And for me, the earlier my Lula goes, the better for him, the better for the country, the better for the player, the better for his teammates. So that's my perception, and I'm not necessarily against Hugo Broos. I am a big fan of Hugo Broos because he's changed the face of Bafana. He's giving youngsters an opportunity, understands that let's not look for results now, let's look for results in the next 5 years. And I think the squad that he has selected, I'm very positive with that.